your life right now is a perfect representation of all of your beliefs, just reflected outside of you, right? Because if you believed other things, your life would look different. And I'll prove it to you. But check this out. Every belief you have was actually formed as a protection mechanism from this origin wound, right? So this might come as a surprise, but when I was a kid, I used to think I was dumb as shit. Like, my sister was like always a valedictorian, and school never came easily to me. I was into sports and stuff. And I know that's surprising because of what my channel is about, like psychology of the fight. But yeah, and it actually dawned on me the moment this really struck me was that in 9th grade, we had this biology quiz, and on the 20th question of the quiz, they asked like a gimme question. It was supposed to be like a freebie. It was like, are human cells prokaryote or eukaryotes, I think, eukaryotic. And I didn't know, right? I'm not good at biology. I wasn't really paying attention, and I put prokaryotic, and it was wrong. And in that class, we were grading like each other's papers because I guess the teacher was lazy. And I remember the teacher was saying, all right, guys, on this question, this was a 50-50. This one, should have not been really a surprise to anybody. And people kind of laughed because it was a gimme question. And I could see that I was the only one in the whole class that got the question wrong because the kid grading my paper, I still remember his name was David, was marking it off, right? And I remember trying to save face and be like, oh, shoot, did I put I meant we all know I meant eukaryotic. I was like trying to save face. But I was so embarrassed, right, that this is 9th grade of high school, which at this point is like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And that even though I don't wake up thinking about like, oh, I hate biology class, this has dragged with me in very subtle ways, right? So you have these beliefs that you carry with you all the time. And the belief forms as a protection mechanism. So this belief formed that like, okay, I'm dumb, so why try? And the way it manifested is that when I went through high school, I would never study for tests because it's like, oh, I'm dumb, why try? I'm just gonna fail, I'm dumb, why try? Because I'm protecting myself from this feeling of like actually trying my best, which I did embarrassingly in that biology quiz, and then being humiliated. So I'd rather just not try, right, and then not go through that. And this manifested itself in so many different ways in my life. And basically, the armor that the kid puts on becomes like chains to the adult. It just drags you down. And I actually want to show you something very interesting about your own beliefs, because the number one thing I've realized is that most people are unaware of the beliefs that they're actually carrying through this life. So I'm going to do a little fill in the blank thing, right? Like, this is going to sound weird, but I want you to do this with me, right? I'm going to say a sentence, and then I want you to just say what comes up in your head to complete the sentence, right? So, for example, if I'm like, the sky is, you'd say blue, probably, unless you're colorblind or whatever. Then you'd say gray, but, or whatever colorblind people see. Anyway, and these are going to be revealing. Like, this obviously isn't like the end all, but it's just kind of this idea for you. So like a very powerful one off the top of my head. Money is, people with a lot of money are, to make a lot of money, I would need to, I'm scared that if I became extremely successful, I would, and I am, and who knows, maybe all 5 of those gave you these great results. And this, like I said, it's not like this end-all clinical diagnosis, but what I found is that more than likely 1 or 2 of these was probably surprising and probably negative. So I used to work with this kid, and he would always make right under 100 grand. Like, it was crazy. He would make like 98,000, one year he made 92,000, like always under 100 grand, 100 grand. And he was like a hard worker, smart kid. And like, we really got into it, and we had this like real heart to heart. This is a long time ago, but eventually he told me that he believed that money is evil. And when we got into it, it's because he saw his parents get a divorce over money. And so the kid gets this belief that like, oh, money's this bad thing, causes divorce. This is the reason my parents don't love each other anymore. And so it's trying to protect that kid. But obviously when he grows up, if you're trying to get a lot of money, that's not a great belief to have. So when you're going through life with all these limiting beliefs, you're driving a car really fast, but you have the handbrake on. So it's never truly going to go all out, right? So like when you think of a goal, right? There's three parts of you having this goal. The first one is the clarity, right? The more clear you are is like the better your GPS can route, right? So there's levels of this. The first one's like, I want money, right? That guy's kind of a vague goal. The second level is like, I want 150 grand. It's more concrete, but not great. And then the third one is having the concrete goal with a why. So it's like, I want 150 grand so I can put a down payment on a 3-bed, 2-bath house and invest 30 grand in index funds. That guy's really clear. So he's got the GPS locked in, okay? But the next two parts are the why, right? Like the why attached to the goal. That's like the gas in the car. And then the final one is the beliefs, right? Like your beliefs attached to money and success and achieving this goal. If you have limiting beliefs, that's like you're hitting the gas and the brake at the same time. You're never going to go all out toward that goal. So you hear a lot about like, oh, write down your goals and be specific. And that is a big part of it. But in my opinion, the beliefs are the biggest part, right? You could have like the most clear goal, the most deep why, and that'll get you far. But until you take the brake off, you're never going to really achieve it, right? And so what I found is that the very first thing is you need to be aware of the limiting beliefs you have, specifically about money, success, what money costs people. Like we're kind of inundated with these negative beliefs. Like if you think about mainstream movies, the evil character is always like a billionaire. It's like the evil billionaire. And all over the news is like why rich people are, you know, the worst thing in the world, and Elon Musk is horrible and Jeff Bezos is horrible and blah, blah, blah. It's like all you hear, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. It was like this thing you hear throughout your whole life. And especially how you saw your parents interact with money, it's called your cognitive money script in psychology. It's how you now interact with money, unless you are able to unshackle all these things from yourself. And so I want to invite you guys to comment down below what actually came up for you, right? What's a belief you want to move through? And I want to offer you this just free game. A belief is something that was proven true at one point in your life, right? So when I was 16 or 14 or whatever, 9th grade of biology, it was true in that moment that, yeah, I didn't have the right answer, but I created this meaning like, oh, it means I'm dumb. It means I'm a fucking idiot. The first idea is that try to go back and trace the original memory of where you got this belief from and try to separate yourself from all the meaning you attach to it. It's like, what actually happened is that I got a question wrong on a biology quiz. The meaning that I attached to it, that I dragged through my whole life, is that I'm an idiot and I'll never be anybody, right? That's number one. Number two for free game is act in a contradictory way to your beliefs. So like, if I'm believing I'm dumb, what does a guy who believes the opposite do? Well, he would probably read books and he would listen to podcasts that benefit him, and he would study, right? And so when you just do that for a long enough period of time, your brain starts to believe the opposite. The word identity actually comes from the Latin root identitas, repeated being. We are what we repeatedly do. So that's another way to shift beliefs, because basically the crux of it is this, is that your beliefs are your map of reality. Every single decision you ever make is filtered through that map, right? So if your beliefs are all built from pain, right, your personality kind of becomes this collection of trauma responses. And that means that you, the person you call you, may be just a survival strategy created by a younger you to survive. I.e., your personality is one big trauma response. But you can change it. So the first step is awareness, right? Becoming aware of our limiting beliefs. And then the next step is changing it. So I've given you a couple of ways to do it here. There's a bunch of different ways. I would just recommend working harder on yourself than you work on your job. because your beliefs really do shape your reality. Belief creates reality. And I've never actually mentioned it before on any of my channels, but this is actually what I do in my day job. I help high agency people who already make 100K break through their limiting beliefs and hit the next level. So if you're there, you know you're plateaued, you're a baller, and you want to, the idea of working with me sounds cool, check it out. I'll leave a link below. But if not, I genuinely want to help you. I want to hear what you guys came up with for those fill in the blanks, right? So leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. I love you. Peace.